This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. It is day 2 of the annual Bilderberg conference, and we have just found a pretty interesting spot where we were just detained for about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, and I am joined here by the one and only Charlie Skelton. Now, Charlie, we just were kind of controlled, as the Italian police like to say. Why do you think that is? Obviously, it's because of where we currently are, but what do you think about this location that we're at right now, and why do you think they chose to come here?
Well, Dan, for a start, it's good to see you here pressing for truth, you know, and it's not easy this year. The police are being a little bit heavy-handed. It's a little bit over-policed, you know, as always. But, you know, it's not just police, there's military inside, and it's tough for people to sort of get stories and put together information for people, and so anyway, I'm just pleased to see you. I'm here. But so the reason I think we're here is you know, this is the Auto Museum of Turin. So it's and this year we're kind of being hosted by John Elkann. Well, we're not. Bilderberg is, and. So he's the heir to the Fiat fortune. So, you know, Bilderberg's taking place in the old Fiat headquarters, and so there's a kind of car manufacturing feel to this conference.
Yeah, and this museum right here, you can see it's got all these like little car shapes in there, and that's probably why, because you know the hotel that they're at, the NH Torino, is, I believe, or Lengato, is only a 4-star, which is a first for me. I've never seen Bilderberg staying in a 4-star hotel. Now, you were down at the airport. You've been around the hotel. Who are some of the notable names that you've captured on film so far?
Well, I had a nice photograph of the Governor of the Bank of England. Mark Carney arriving, and also the editor-in-chief of Bloomberg, John Micklethwaite. And it's interesting to see those two arrive, because Bloomberg, you know, prizes itself on being the kind of beating heart of news about the finance and economy for the entire world, and yet they haven't covered it at all this year. And you look at who's here. You know, there's 2 central bankers, a deputy central banker, 2 or 3 finance ministers. You know, it's extremely high-level economic policymakers, and you know, along with heads of banks and directors of banks, director of Barclays, director of HSBC, all of that taking place. You would think that would, if I was editing Bloomberg, I'd go, oh my God, we've got to cover this. This is absolutely fantastic. What a story. But no, it's left to you.
Yeah, it goes to show exactly, you know, the fact that when you have that much secrecy and that much to hide, you're probably up to some nefarious things. And, you know, we're only left to speculate, of course. They don't really publish the meetings of the minutes. We may not know what's being talked about in there, but we can sometimes get an idea by looking at who attends and what is on the agenda. And this year it seems like there's a lot of tech people as well. We got guys from Google. We've got, you know, these venture capitalist firms that are known for funding tech startups, and it looks like there's a lot of these guys. Why do you think that is, and what do you think the focus might be in that regard? Well,
there's a definite shift within Bilderberg and its interest towards tech. There's no question, and that's taken place ever since Craig Mundy joined the steering. He's ex-senior member of Microsoft. Executive of Microsoft, and it's shifted gradually, and now it's picking up speed. And now you look at the participant list is full of biotech, Silicon Valley luminaries. You've got board members from Facebook and Twitter. So yeah, they're definitely embracing new tech. They're talking about quantum computing and AI. I mean, there's a sense in which Bilderberg is refusing to be kind of stuck in its past, you know, as this kind of Cold War entity, you know, full of, you know, that kind of old CIA Cold War sort of background to it, with the, you know, a bit like the, you know, you think of the Agnelli billions, that's the sort of Italian part of it, and you've got various other kind of old money involved in it, like the King of Holland, you know, all of the kind of Royal Dutch Shell stuff, but it hasn't stuck at, you know, oil and manufacturing. It's now looking at biotech and stem cell research and you name it. I mean, there's a stem cell expert here. Presumably, I guess Kissinger takes them with him wherever he goes.
Yeah, really. I'm sure he's ingested quite a few himself, that man. Now, final question. This is something that's intrigued me on the agenda, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on it, is this concept of the post-truth world. Did you see that on the agenda, and what do you think they mean by that?
Well, I think they mean, and I looked at some of the people on the participant list, and I think it's to do with how you can make AI kind of filter content and, so as it were, build systems of kind of news reporting and news aggregation and information aggregation, and sort of, as it were, comb out material that they're not the people that are doing the combing aren't happy about. So I think it has to do with using AI to do that. And if you look at something, there's a company, Jigsaw. Talking of, you mentioned Google. Google is very, very heavily represented this year, and so Jared Cohen, who wrote a book with Eric Schmidt a few years ago. He used to be at the State Department. So he's now runs Jigsaw within Google. And Jigsaw is a company that does things like, it's all about kind of manipulating opinion and dealing with changes of opinion and that kind of thing. So it's all about, things like regime change. That's like Anne Applebaum, who's here, is the head of the Transitions Institute, and it's all about transitions, looking at what people are thinking about, how you can control that. And this is, ironically, where the whole of Bilderberg began. It began with statements, by Prince Bernhard and the organisers about the fact they wanted to control and unify public opinion in the transatlantic community. And they're still doing it, except that this time it's done with high tech, it's done with AI.
Yeah, I see that exactly as the way it is going down, actually. They have to deal with the exposure they're getting, and perhaps they're going to be using technology in a way to do that. So now they got to figure out how to deal with troublemakers like this guy right here, who keeps interrupting our interview and trying to be a wise guy. But either way, we are going to continue to be tracking them and exposing them. So thanks so much for talking to us.
No, I'd love to speak to you, Dan.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.